Well, we're rolling.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
such-
and we have no idea what our intro.
No, like
Well, we're rolling.
we
maybe.
are.
That's what it should be.
I guess what would make sense is we could at least introduce ourselves for anybody
Yeah.
that doesn't know who we are. So, JR, we got Kevin.
In case somebody stumbles on this,
Yeah,
I am K-Rid.
yeah. It would be shocking to me if somebody actually did.
Yeah.
I was on LinkedIn earlier today because I spend way too much time on LinkedIn for business purposes. But
Yep.
there's a guy on there who's done podcasts for a long time, Jordan Harbinger. Do you know who that is?
Okay.
I don't know who he is. I've never even heard of him, but apparently he's pretty popular when it comes to podcasting. And
he's
he
the
said
harbinger of Jordans.
You'd have to be insane to think that you're going to get famous from doing a podcast.
Oh, okay. I have a great stat. I was fucking around with this. Oop, and I already swore. So we'll have to.
We're gonna get better at that as we go. We're working on keeping our language to a minimum, so YouTube doesn't shadow ban us out of existence, which is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, YouTube. But I was doing. My dad challenged me recently because we were talking about. I was like, I still think in sermons. Like, I can't really help it. I still kind of think in that teaching kind of framework. And he was like, well, you need to get that out there. And he's like, you should start a podcast. Like, do you have any idea how many podcasts there are? And also, do you have any idea how many podcasts there are about that?
That exact
And so I
thing.
did some research. Yeah. 4 million some odd active podcasts. 4 million. And around like 7% of those are Protestant Christian. Fun fact, 0% of those use the F word a lot. So I thought I could find a niche.
You could.
That'll be my own spin-off.
Honestly,
filthy father Kevin. Yeah.
You can swear if you want to. I'm just saying.
You can swear if you want to.
It's not going to show up on anybody's
to the kids
search if you do that.
You're right. And here's what I wanted to get it recorded with James Carville and Tucker Carlson both deciding to leave their respective posts in their parties. There's a power vacuum for us, JR.
Yeah. James Carville's a real power broker in the Democratic Party. He hasn't been since Clinton.
I bet I'm the only one who will watch this if they even do, or that's on our Discord that even fucking knows who James Carville is.
He is a cantankerous old bastard. But he's funny. Don't get me wrong.
He has his
he's
moment.
Funny.
That show had its run.
Yeah.
Anyway, brother.
Background for us. We're both biblical studies majors in undergrad.
Damn.
I have a history degree as well and an MBA now. So I've been in business for the last 20 odd years. Mm-hmm. You've been in business and retail for the last 20 odd years as well. And we talk to a lot of people. We're people.
Lots of people, specifically in retail. So
yes,
yes, you are much more classically educated, you smug bastard.
I am a smug bastard.
God, you look good, by the way. It's been too long, and
I've gained so much weight in the last year and a half.
Would you not, though? When you talk about yourself this way? Listen, JR, I think part of our time together is we're going to share best practices in life. Yeah. And we're just going to get better by meeting in the middle finger. Or the middle way, or whatever we decided to call it.
What's funny is that the middle and the middle way are both taken by some pretentious Christian people.
Oh, incredible. Okay, well then we need to be the double outsiders.
Yeah.
Where I feel like my experience is a little unique is in working retail for 20 years. That shaped my perspective on politics and religion and I would say a lot of social issues, probably as much, if not debatably more than my privileged Protestant Christian upbringing
You're throwing in the privilege already.
Let's go. Come on, baby.
Privilege
Come on.
white boy background is
That's
exactly where you're going to go with this.
I can almost hang it up here.
Yeah.
I have all the stripes.
Do you truly feel like your life has been privileged?
Yeah.
I sure as shit don't.
Okay. And I here's why I say that. I take the perspective. Well, I immediately go to some of the experiences I've had either with people that I've worked with or that I've been in like recovery programs and stuff with. And I've had a lot of there, but by the grace of God go I moments in when I speak to, and I think what maybe will come up today, what I mean by privilege is I have a community that affords me the ability to fail.
Yeah.
And I've had opportunities to either take advantage of or be exposed to things that materially improve the health and ease of my life.
I would disagree with any of that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by privilege. Is
I think privilege is thrown at people, and it's almost like a stone to throw at somebody. Like you got what you have because of the way you look, and honestly,
weaponized.
I think that there is some truth to that. I'm not going to disagree that I've been able to get in places and have conversations that other people can't. And
because you're a white guy?
Yeah. A white male.
Not just because you're a goddamn dead ringer for Bill Burr.
Yeah. Somebody on my stream the other day put off there, it's like poor man's Bill Burr.
Whoa.
It's like the first comment on there for the day.
Well,
anyway, but yeah, I think
name Jesus pretty big. Yeah, the poor. Anyway,
I've been able to go to college. I've been able to go to grad school. I've been able to get into a lot of places that other people can't, because maybe somebody grew up in the inner city, they went to a really bad school that's funded by property taxes. There's no property taxes in the area, so the schools are failing. So there are a lot of things we can do to fix this. But at the same time, I had to work to get here too. It's not like I just was handed an opportunity and now I'm successful. That's the part that kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I think it rubs a lot of racist white people the wrong way in my own political party. We'll put it that way.
I keep looking for the books that I keep thinking of quoting later.
Yeah.
I got to stop doing this. You got to stop me from doing this.
No, that's the point of this conversation, though.
Yeah.
So you got all these people that are like, well, I had to work hard to get here. I had to do this. I had to do that. Yeah, it's true. I had better opportunities than other people. I'll admit that. I'm not going to argue that. But at the same time, I'm not going to have that thrown in my face like I'm here because of. And that's the only reason that I'm here.
Dude, for whatever. Did you see that restraint?
I like it.
For whatever reason. For whatever reason, I've been prompted. We used to call that thinking, but now it's just, I was prompting my HI the other day. That's my human intelligence. With
good Lord.
The thought.
I don't even know where you're going with that.
I know. Well, yeah, I know. I'm starting on third base. We'll get back to the batter's box here in a second. I've been thinking about when Jesus was speaking of the rich man entering the kingdom of heaven.
I had the same conversation with somebody earlier, like 2 days ago. But anyway, keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, no, we're not. This is the repartee I look for. Yeah. Is that how I use that word? Probably not.
Who the hell cares?
English.
Yeah.
I think that's French. Anyway. I was thinking about that, and I thought, Jesus isn't just talking shit. He's not like, rich man, good luck. It's like, I think there's something about being in a position where you do not recognize your interdependence upon everyone else.
Yeah, you're dead on. You're going in the same direction this conversation went. Keep going.
That disconnects you from love.
Yeah, and the need for love.
Sure, you learn maybe strategies to inoculate yourself, right? Maybe it's, I don't want to use really, really apt examples. That would be falling down a K-hole, which is just something Kevin calls falling down a hole. But like, imagine being a trillionaire and still taking ketamine kind of thing.
Yeah. He's a special case.
The specialist, but I think it's a lot of suffering. Like I found myself moving from a space, and this is where I'm coming back to that word privilege and kind of the violence that it's been used, especially in examples like you're talking about, where it's like, if it's used to discount any hard work I've ever done or anybody's ever done that has started at the 10-yard line going in, so to speak, in life.
Yeah.
If it's used in a way to discount their hard work in a personal attack, it's still a personal attack, and that's fucking wrong.
Yeah, if we want to talk about it in the like corporate, that's a different story altogether. So my thoughts on this whole thing.
Hit me.
It's harder for a rich man to enter heaven because it's harder for a rich man to understand that he needs something he doesn't have. When everything,
maybe he doesn't believe there is anything he doesn't
exactly
have.
When you have everything in life that you could possibly need. That's why when you go to third world countries and you see like revival movements there, it's always the poor. It's always the poorest of the poor because they're the ones that are searching for meaning in a life, when rich people aren't looking for meaning. They think they are the meaning. And they think their success is the meaning and the money and power or whatever else. So I think my whole issue with the entire conversation around privilege is when somebody looks at me and says, this person has what they have because of what they've been given. And in many cases, those people have had the exact same opportunities that I did. They may not have worked as hard. Because a lot of people I see saying this kind of stuff, white women. I'm not joking. The more people I see talking about male privilege, white male privilege, is white women. And the funny thing about that is, have you seen the Bill Burr special? It's like, you're sitting right here in this hot tub next to me, sweetheart. What are you talking about? But yeah, it's, I think it's a way to complain about how bad things are. And things are bad for people right now.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I'm not even talking just from a money standpoint. I think there's just a complete vacuum in meaning for people. And that meaning, in my mind, is very easily solved by one relationship. But not everybody's going to be open to that conversation, because most people, and I actually had this discussion with a group of people the other day. I'm not going to say who because it was kind of a smaller group, or I'm not going to give too many details. But the idea was
Mormons.
No, it was people actually know. I'm actually on a blacklist, I believe, with the Mormons. They won't come see me anymore.
Damn.
I've caused them to leave with more questions than they came in with, and that was not well spoken of within that church. But the conversation was, I don't have the words to say to tell people about why it is that I have the joy that I have. And I said, well, how are you going about this? Are you going about this like you want to have a script to go talk to people? They're like, well, yeah, I don't have the words to say. It's like, well, how about, hello, how are you? What's going on with your life? Why don't you get to know somebody? Like that's the easiest way to do any of this. That's the easiest way to communicate with anyone. Like if I was meeting somebody on the street, the first thing I talk to them about is not going to be religion. Let me tell you that. First thing I'm going to talk to them about is who they are, what they're about, and what they care about. Because that's a person I'm talking to. That's not something to chalk up on my whatever I'm keeping score on.
I think all of this is now an 8-hour podcast.
That's typically how we work, man. I don't think we've ever talked for less than 3 hours.
That's probably true. My wife goes, "How long are you guys going to talk?" And I go, "I don't know."
Who
She
knows?
goes, "I'm going to eat dinner without you." I'm like, yeah. You're definitely
Yeah.
that.
And we haven't even gotten to the topic of the day yet. And that's the
No,
funny
but
part. Yeah.
all of this is
It's our
beating
preface.
around the bush a little
Yeah.
of said topic. So I think what's interesting, dude, is one, I concur. I think there's whether it's so hard to differentiate between what's just me getting older and what's like markedly worse about this life experience for humans.
I think we're just old, man.
So like a lot of this might just be fucking old head old head stuff.
People our age have kids in college now.
Right.
Kids with babies.
Dude, I was watching I was looking at something on Blue Sky, the only place for Democrats.
Yeah. I've never been on that website, by the way.
I'm sure you haven't. You
Yeah.
heathen, red
I am a
pill.
heathen. Yeah.
Anyway, heathen. No, you'd be the Christian in the. So, I saw something and it was like the NBA draft fit, and these dudes, bro, all of them were born when we left Azusa Pacific.
Yeah. It's insane.
Which to me was still like a couple years ago.
They're like 23 years old.
So, no, I do think there's a lot of that. However, I will say this too. I've used retail as a barometer for a long time, and I still work closely with retail employees. And there was a time where, again, I was more closely aligned with their age, but I also still stay in touch with a lot of these folks where that was a thriving industry. And hell, dude, when you were working at Outback and some of our friends were working other serving jobs, there were people that were paying mortgages and living decently. My parents, with some assistance from my mom's dad, I later found out, but they were both teachers, and we lived in a lot of the same neighborhoods that the kids who I went to private schools with. And so I do think that there's an affordability shift that's happened at a level of the middle class and maybe lower middle class.
Middle class is gone at this point.
And dude, I'm sure we will unpack this at some point, but I almost chuckled when that housing bill finally came up, and then I chuckled when it started to pass, and then I chuckled when Trump was like, bing bong, I'm going to make you show ID before you vote, and whatever. Fine.
Let's add a couple writers to
when
this,
I became an agent and I found out that how easy it was for corporations to own massive amounts of our land, I was like, oh, the game is rigged.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not even in a way that's like, oh, I can see how this is good that like one or two people own this much and have this much control. It was more like, oh shit, this is terrifying, because I do yearn for this kingdom of heaven that's described.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd love to unpack it more at some other time. Like, I'd love to do a whole thing on just kingdom of heaven.
I think that's a good topic.
Yeah, because there are moments when I feel as though that I have experienced and do experience that. And in ways in which I see the poor being blessed, the righteous having their thirst satiated.
Right.
You witness the lion laying with the lamb, and you alluded to it earlier. I think it happens in a lot of communities where money is too scarce to be so important.
Yeah.
Possessions are too scarce to be so important.
You have to
They're
rely.
already where
Yeah.
rot and mold can get them. So
Yep.
why not instead store up those moments that you have with people that matter in your life? And I've found so much relief and recovery from, there's this little book, and I should grab it one of these times, but Thich Nhat Hanh has this little book called True Love. It's like 50 pages. And he talks about how true love is truly being present and paying attention and accepting the one you're with.
Yeah.
And dude, when I read it, I think about you. I think about my wife. I think about my brother. I think about people that I've loved in my life and how I experience, like, dude, right now, this is a flow state for me. This is a safe space. This is something where I know I'm connecting with somebody who cares about me and who I care about incredibly deeply. And I think about how rich people never get there. They never do.
Is it your
Every rich-
experience? I'm curious.
Yeah.
This is my experience. I want to know if you think it's the same. I've met some of the most unhappy people in my life, and those people are very rich. Some of the
wealthiest-
happiest people
Yeah.
I've met are some of the poorest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And it's because, in my mind, the poor people know what truly matters. And it's everything you just said. It's connection. It's being with people. It's being a part of a community. It's just being part of something. And when you look at rich people, they don't feel like they need anything else. They've got it. They're made.
And it's
they're
where
miserable.
It's where anti-social media
I hate
has
social
ripped us
media.
apart.
Yeah.
It's ripped us apart because it's taken those communities that would have bound together, those impoverished communities. I mean, dude, and it's ripped us apart because clicks,
it's rage
likes.
baiting. It's rage baiting for money. That's what social media is. It's
And
it's not a social network. It is an indoctrination network to get you to continue to click. It's not even built to bring people together. It's built to tear people apart. And that's what it's doing.
100%.
It's a horrible thing. But anyway, so great preamble, because that's exactly what we're going to get into today, because we wanted to talk the welfare state. We wanted to talk about poor people and how do you deal with the problem
And rich people
of poverty. Yeah, well,
yeah.
we've already talked about the poverty that rich people have, and it's a character poverty for the most part.
I want to
But,
help
like,
them with that by alleviating them of their funds.
Yeah, and then they'll have to learn how to rely on other people pretty quickly. But as a background here, I have been a registered Republican since I was 19. I was an independent my first year. But that was only because I just didn't want to associate myself with anybody. I thought I was smarter than everyone else. As you do as an 18-year-old.
100%. I registered to be a Democrat 2016.
Yeah. So we are on polar opposite sides of most every social issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought it would be interesting to get together and just talk about what it is these things are. We are in no way political experts. I dabble in politics in my day job, but it's mostly about things that impact my business and not necessarily anything that is these kind of big questions that we're going to talk through.
And I doom scroll. And
And so
try to read.
We thought it would be fun to have these conversations, talk about things, see if we can find middle ground on some of these big topics. And on top of that, how do we layer in how we were raised and our beliefs into these discussions? I think that,
Love it.
That to me is kind of the premise of this whole thing. So we wanted to start with the welfare state. And by we, I mean I. Because I
We have to own each topic. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll own the next
Yeah.
one, and I'll say
So
what it is.
sometimes Social Security, Medicare, and even welfare, which is it's not just one bill. It's like 6 different things all lumped together. So you got SNAP, you got whatever else. So any kind of assistance for underprivileged people, or I guess you can't call them homeless anymore because people get pissy about that. But you know what I mean.
Who gets mad about?
Apparently unhomed is the way you're supposed to
Oh,
say it now.
people
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, see, and that's a different argument altogether. But so this is one of those divisive topics that typically get people yelling at each other. And I think it's important for us to be able to talk to each other no matter what. You should be able to talk about every topic without getting angry. I've heard stories about politicians in the 50s, 60s, and 70s who hated each other ideologically, but were really good friends and would sit around and put deals together to move things forward. You can't do that anymore with social media. You'll get hung out to dry by somebody calling you a rhino or whatever else. I don't even know what the slur is for Democrats that work with Republicans, but you know what I mean. So
we call them Fetterman.
Yeah, Fetterman. I like Fetterman personally. I've met him. He's a nice. He's an interesting guy. So I think we'll start with the conservative view. So I'm going to start with the traditional conservative view. I'm not going to talk about what my beliefs are until we get further into this. So I'm just going to talk about what typical conservatives would say. So the idea is folks get on welfare and they become addicted to the system and they don't want to leave the system. And there are certain structures built into the system that keep people from getting jobs. And I will say on that point, I have seen that firsthand, where people will tell me, I can't go get that job because if I get that job, I'm going to make too much money and I'm going to lose my benefits. And then I will actually end up losing money long term because those benefits were tax free. And if I make money, then I have to pay taxes on it. So I'm not going to do it. So the system is kind of built in that way. I think that's a structural problem with the system, not necessarily a problem with the idea behind the system. We'll put it that way.
Sure.
This typical conservative would say it's kinder to people to help them get on their feet and then cut them loose and make them earn their own way because you don't want to get them addicted to a system. Personally, I think it's a little disingenuous, but that's the argument. Like the whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I had to do it. You can do it too kind of thing. And in some cases, you just can't do that. There are reasons why these things exist. And then there was actually a CBO report a couple of years ago. So the Congressional Business Office. So it's a bipartisan report that came out that pretty much said that exact same thing, that the system is built in a way to disincentivize people to get back to work.
Yep.
And so what happens with conservatives typically is they think big government equals bad. This is a way for people to attack the idea of big government. And so they kind of get after the welfare system when the welfare system is needed, in my mind, but it needs to be reformed completely, is where my kind of viewpoint is.
All right.
I'm going to let you run with the liberal side of things.
Here's the crunchy blue side. One, I think if you asked anybody who, and again, I think if you asked people who care to govern wisely, they would agree that the system itself needs a lot of reform. Now, I don't think anybody's running on that.
It's politically not expedient at all.
Because it's absolutely kryptonite.
Yes.
And so what I would love to see, and maybe this is where we can transition this, right? This is the blue candidate that gets my throat that I would want to bring in front of my friend JR, and I would say, this is the being that you can vote for, right? And feel confident that maybe our aligned values would be met. And that's kind of what I want to flesh out. So what made me such a Bernie bro back in the day is a recognition that he speaks to what I believe is the fundamental Achilles heel of our greedy problem. And that is, we are more willing to throw our strength and weight from a corporate standpoint behind corporate gains and protecting corporate profits than we are to throw resources at people. And I do think the fact that, I did a little research, like less than 10% of our tax spend is going to go to things like SNAP, like true welfare.
It's important
And
to
then we
have
spend
context.
30% on defense, and we still can't. I mean, again, I'm not a kill people for get what we want guy. I'm not.
Yeah,
and like,
I'm not either.
I'll be hard fought to be like, yeah, dude, I'm so glad that a third of every dollar goes to more bombs. Listen, or to the people that get to manage those bombs. Good. So they can leave and what? Continue to be a part. You want to talk about welfare state? You know how good the rates are that these people get on houses for the rest of their lives? For what? You went to Hawaii and you worked on, you repaired helicopters in Hawaii for 6 years?
Tubbs would like a word with you, I think.
I know. I'm talking shit. I understand. And I know. And literally, bro, that's probably more sacrilege than talking shit about Jesus in the United States.
Oh my God, is it?
So I understand that right out of the gate, I'm kind of in a lose-lose because, again, like Jesus, I'm probably saying I'm more concerned about the people who are poor than I am the military might of some country. Yeah. All of that to say, I think the reform, the other thing that I looked at is you look at Nordic countries that do have things like UBI, universal health care.
Yeah.
You look at basic measurements of happiness, longevity, and they're kicking the shit out of the United States.
It's true.
Now, if that doesn't matter, okay, I'd like to know the metrics that matter, right? From like a how we do it standpoint, because traditionally, JR, what I've noticed is the United States and the health of the United States is summarized simply by how well the indexes are doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
It's
we don't talk about,
only.
We literally laugh about affordability. We joke about, you and I are talking about the erosion of the middle class. So even as we debate the welfare state and how enabling it is, I'd like to counter that we've also enabled the other side to be so insanely greedy that now we believe the cult of Elon, that we need his wealth to create more wealth. While we're hoping that we get that promotion next year so that we can keep up with this avalanche of inflation and have a basic life that we got from our parents. Like, again, dude, I think about that religion right now. My wife and I, we'd love to have kids, bro. We would. But I think it would be financially irresponsible. At the moment, I think it would be financially irresponsible.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. And yes, we can all talk about my bootstraps and how much more I could pull them up, or what we could cut, and maybe I could sell some of these books, and then you got diapers, Kevin. What's wrong with you? Like, I get it. Okay, I understand. What I'm saying is my parents didn't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And they also made a decision to pursue passions for their career, not something they had to do. I mean, I remember how passionate you were about plastics when we were in college, and how much I talked about retail. I was like, you know what I love?
No clue it even existed as a thing.
Again, I'm not bemoaning our current position, but I look at some of those factors and I just think when we do things like attack the welfare state, it's to distract us from the fact that we're all there.
Yeah.
We're all in some way in a welfare state, meaning I believe that there are those wealthy, disconnected people who genuinely could connect with the tribe of humanity by finding a way to meet some of these basic needs. If they don't want to do it through paying taxes, awesome. Show me. Like you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If the church is so powerful, if your Jesus is so gracious, if 10% of these folks' dollars are going somewhere else, that's more than what you're giving to SNAP and EBT. So why aren't they feeding the poor?
That's
and if they're
exactly
not feeding the
where
poor,
I want to go with this.
Well, and again, if they can't help the poor get back on their feet, isn't that quite literally what Jesus was walking around doing? Lazarus, go ahead, get up, grab your mat, you're fine. Now, I don't remember actually the guy who had to get it, but Lazarus did too because he was dead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The guy though.
I don't know if I don't remember if he said grab your mat and get up.
Yeah, he was
did
the guy
that to
at the
guy.
well.
Anyway, yeah.
He was lame.
And I thought there was
the lame
significance
man.
to him grabbing his mat. Anyway.
Yeah.
Some word. I do, in my heart of hearts, believe that any attack on the poor, and I mean any, needs to be examined at a root level from like what good does it do? Let the poor man have his drink. That's in Proverbs, right? Let the broke ass have their Slurpee. And ultimately, do I think, to your point, that's not the part of the system that's absolutely jacked. This work restriction, income restriction, again, I think you look at what are those things that we provide at a basic level, right? I am unabashedly a universal health care person.
That'll be another topic for another conversation.
Awesome. I believe in the people of the United States that we could figure out how to do it. I really do. I think it would require a lot of people making a little less money. I mean it. A lot of people making a little less money. I'm talking about insurance companies and healthcare providers. Yes, you're right. They might make less. They might. Now, if it lowered overall affordability, which again, this is for another conversation, hey, maybe that's a thing. But I digress.
Yeah.
We are a sick country that's getting sicker. Again, I look at universal health care. I look at that. I roll mental health into that. JR, I believe that we are careening toward a boomer mental health crisis.
I think we're there already.
Yeah. Where not only will the antisocial networks and their exposure to them and their inability to kind of separate their Facebook life from their pickleball club, that shit will start to blend. It's a personal attack.
What a stupid game that is. But
dude, it's sustaining most of our economy right now, JR. Everywhere I go, I'm like, oh, that commercial building used to be a Sears. Now it's just it's a 3,500 foot pickleball court. Anyway,
it's insane.
Anyway, my sincerest thought is that if we quadrupled our investment in the health of our people, of the United States, I mean it, stem to stern. You know what? Make America healthy again is a great goddamn slogan. I think we should use doctors and scientists instead
of lunatics with worms in their brain.
What is he just like? He's just kind of a hot old guy. That one.
He's an idiot. He's been an idiot forever.
I know that. And I know like the anti-vax all that, like,
yeah.
But like, I don't, JR, I don't get the appeal. I see some of these guys and like, oh, again.
I guess it makes sense for me to say here, I am a registered Republican that absolutely hates Trumpism and the MAGA movement. I think it's important for me to divorce myself from those buffoons.
And I
because
do think there's a
that
couple
is not what we're
Republicans
talking
that
about.
that are joining you that way. But yeah, traditional conservative views on welfare. So
Yeah.
okay, so I guess now I just propose that we increase our taxes to pay for a bunch of other shit. And you're like, this stuff. So talk to me a little bit more about like look, let's go small government with it. What's
Yeah.
like, give me like the minimalist approach to taking care of the poor. I mean that, God, that sounded awful.
Yeah.
I mean, give me the government's minimalist approach and maybe how the God King JR might
How I
handle the
would
rest
fix
of
it.
it. Yeah, honestly,
So
outside of just fishes and bread, that's been done, bro.
yeah, if I'm going to start this by first a critique of the American church. So the American church at this point is Christian nationalism through and through for the most part.
Damn
And
bars.
that ideology is at odds with Christ. I don't know if you saw this, but Trump went after Talrico from Texas, saying that he was that Jesus didn't like him or something like that. He was a bad Christian. And that's rich, man. Coming from Trump, calling somebody a bad Christian, it's like a Muslim calling me a bad Christian. It's like, okay, what do you know about what it is I believe? You
They
know
did
nothing.
call him the King of the Jews.
So my initial thought is, what did Jesus talk about more than just about anything else? And I think it was more than anything else. Talk about taking care of the poor, the widow, the immigrant,
Money.
the marginalized. That's what
Mhm.
Jesus talked about more than anything.
Mhm.
So, with that in mind, our churches should be at the center of every community, caring for families that don't have enough. They should be the SNAP benefits. They should be driving this conversation. So there are 400,000 churches in the US. There are 100,000 kids on adoption rolls right now. Every church adopts one kid. We don't even need all the churches to do it. And every kid is adopted in this country. And they have a great life, hopefully. There are so many things that our churches fail to do, and they don't listen to who is supposed to be the head of our church. They don't listen to Jesus himself when he talks about like what you've done unto the least of me, of these you've done unto me. And they said, well, when did we do this for you? Like, when did we help
When
you
I
when you
was
were in prison?
thirsty, you
When
gave
I was
me
thirsty, you
something
gave me
to
a drink.
drink.
And it's because you did that to
When
the
I
poor
was naked.
and the marginalized. It's because you cared about those people. So if Christian churches wouldn't be so focused on themselves, so your Osteens, your Furticks, your all of these apostates that are out there just trying to get rich, and actually put money back into the community and helped poor people in their community, we wouldn't need the government to do it. Problem is, our churches are devoid of people of character at this point. And so it's difficult for me because I don't think the government should be the one fixing this. I don't think the government is good at this. The government is supposed to be there to make sure that we have a law, a basis of law, and they defend ourselves and our borders. That's a debate too, immigration later on. But they should not be the ones that are caring for the poor. And everybody keeps throwing around that we're a Christian nation, which I disagree with wholeheartedly. You've listened to any of the founding fathers, none of them were Christian. They were all theists. And they would say, like, to our father, but it was somebody who's a clockmaker God, who is a way that doesn't interact in our lives. So they were not Christian. Let's be very clear. And so I look at this movement in the Christian church away from Christ's teachings and away from being even involved in their communities. They've got like security that keep people out. It's just the exact opposite of what we should be doing. And if the church was doing what it should be doing, we wouldn't need welfare. but we do because our churches right now kind of suck.
Hmm.
So that's my viewpoint.
Wow. Okay. I like that. I
You can't really
I think that,
legislate that, though.
well, so I think the difficulty um with organizing any of this, I actually don't disagree. I actually think cutting the tax completely, with how mismanaged most of it is, would
It's a
be
mess.
better.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is I'm working off the presumption that everybody has a community where somebody near them would use their new tax cut to help their friend
And it's
afford
not going to
something
happen.
or to host a potluck.
Yeah. We're a
And we just
consumeristic
aren't,
nation. Nobody's ever going
we're
to do
just
that.
not tribal,
Yeah.
we're not. And I think in that world of like, if we're going to play host to capitalism and we're going to try to keep the murder rate down of rich people, because like my fear, dude, honestly, is the amount of inequity now, and the algorithm's ability to exacerbate that rage that we feel when we perceive inequality, whether it's real or not. But it feeds you that, right? Like all these algos feed you that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
think because it's playing on those things, because we're spending less time seeing each other eye to eye, feeling that other people sneeze and fart too, you know what I mean? Or like that other people got to get up and go use the bath. Like, dude, just
We're just
little
human.
human shit.
Yeah.
And I think by missing out on some of those moments, which, dude, in some ways, I want to address your church comment a little. I
Yeah.
don't really want to address your
I
church
get myself
comment,
into trouble with
but
people
I'm
all the time.
going
So,
to
yeah.
address that church comment. I, bro, I've tried to like put myself on a camera to give one sermon, literally just to tell my dad that I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, and each time I go to do it, I feel like Narcissus.
Yeah. Like you're
I'm
not
like,
doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for. I think that's the problem with American churches. Full stop.
so I just don't, I don't know. Jonah is a funny story, bro.
It really
Is
is.
that
I
mother?
just read about Jonah not long ago. And then I was listening to Tim Keller's podcast where he does old sermons. They just roll through his old sermons from when he was
Okay.
preaching. He's passed now. But he honestly possibly the greatest Christian teacher of the 21st century in my mind. Just awesome. Just very direct, but just always seems to hit the crux of every story, and he tells stories in the right way. And he did
Well,
a
what's
whole
his church doing?
series on, well, he's long since passed. I think he passed like 5 years ago, but it was in New York City. And they've got a couple different charities that actually do all the things that we're talking about. So
Well, there you go. You should have him do it. But like, I, I think about, how difficult it is to try to find a compelling reason to bring humanity back together. And it feels a little hopeless, dude. to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because even the promises of church, let's back to that original conversation you're having of like somebody who's like, I want to go out and convert people, and I just want to share my testimony.
Do you
right?
have your tracks ready to pass out to all these
Right. I want to share my
heathens?
testimony, and then they're going to invite Jesus into their heart
It's gonna be some
space.
spiritual warfare. We got to get out there with our tracks.
When Jesus is in the heart space, and when they thought really hard about how they believe this, then a conversion happens.
Yeah.
I believe that all the healing happens through love. And I believe that what Jesus was teaching, and I wouldn't love to go back and do this, but I've thought about doing this. Look, I think a lot of the text has been jacked with many times over. I think there's
You're talking translations?
the Bible. Yes, sure. Any of the translations.
Are you going to do an exegesis of the entire Bible, starting with the original transcripts?
I'm going to die before that's over. What I'm saying is, part of it is just getting to the bottom of my river about it. And what I mean by that is like, there's some parts of it that remain a little unsettled for me, meaning I don't want to get today into afterlife and all of that, what it meant. What I believe about Jesus, the teacher, about how we were supposed to interact with each other. I knew it was up here somewhere.
You found your book?
Politics. Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, Yoder. This guy, by the way, kicked out for some allegation. Anyway,
I never read that one. What class did you get that in?
I think I took it from you, actually. I think
I
just
have been
stole
from
that
me because I didn't read it.
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember, but I read it like 6 to 8 months ago.
Okay.
I read it in the winter. Anyway, when I think about that, what I think made him so compelling, so effective, and certainly what makes his story so compelling, so effective, in my opinion, is that it is antithetical to gaining power for one person. It is in direct opposition to gaining wealth or any type of control over others. It is anti-dogmatic nonsense.
Yeah.
And if I used all of those descriptive phrases and reversed them, I think I'd describe the American experience.
Yeah.
Where it glorifies the individual over the group. It glorifies greed.
Consumerism is God in America.
Yeah, and bullshit that's going to fade away.
Did you ever read the book American Gods by Neil Gaiman? My God, that is one of my favorite books ever.
It's a great book. I know he's been canceled, but it's busted because I've read it several times.
The cancel aside, for whatever that was, I didn't pay any attention to any of that.
Do yourself a favor.
But when he brings in like the god of money and technology, he nails it. And just like everybody is losing faith in the old gods, and the new gods are money, technology. Yeah, it's he 100% correct. And I think the main issue, like we already talked about, self-absorption and the focus on self and self-gratification or whatever is the problem with the American church. It's the problem with the leadership, and they want to be famous. They want to make money. They want to be the cool kid on the block with fancy light shows and people swinging in, putting friggin' roller coasters on stage.
Think about some of our old chapels, bro.
Yeah, that was bad too. Like if I ever went back, I would be like, this is not good. Like we need to stop doing this. But like if you look at Christian nationalism, it's consumerism just repackaged. It's
Yeah.
really what it is. It's like America is better. America, like we are the chosen nation, and we've got to protect our borders, and it has nothing to do with Christianity. It has
Mm.
nothing to do with what Christ taught. And I'm just so disenfranchised, I guess is the best
Mhm.
way to say it, from most Christian communities. Like we've been going to a really small church here in Charlotte of recent, and it started in South Africa. Actually, it's called Doxa Deo.
Mm.
Great people. The guy that started the Doxa Deo movement in South Africa actually moved to America. He's a citizen now, and he's trying to start a church in North Carolina of all places. And there's like 50 people there, and their whole focus is changing cities by
Cool.
getting in, helping people, all the stuff that we're talking about here in the welfare state. But like that's their actual mission, is to
Mm.
be like Christ and to go and care for the poor, care for the widow. And we just don't have enough of that.
Mm.
Like the Catholic Church isn't doing that. They've got a big charity. They've got more money than anybody. The Mormon Church sure as shit isn't doing that. Like they've got billions upon billions of dollars in slush funds, and they do all of these secret trades through shell corporations so they can, in the name of confidentiality, they don't want anybody to know where the money's going. It's insane to me that all of these churches who claim to be led by a man who talked about the poor more than anything else just does not care about the poor. And that's
I
the
think
one thing,
it's
like when I talk to people and they find out I'm a conservative, they're like, well, what about the poor? I was like, that's one of the biggest concerns in my life, is
right.
making sure that the people around me have what they need. I
But
do
I think
not
that
want to
makes you
just let people go and just let people starve. We're in the most prosperous nation in the world. At no point should anybody be starving here. But I don't think government can fix that.
Mm.
I think that is a structural problem with our churches and with our
Mm.
communities and lack thereof communities.
Mm. Mm.
I just
Mm.
don't know how you would, unless there's a huge change in how our churches operate, I don't know how you fix it other than through government. I just don't think the government does a good job
Well,
at this. And they
maybe
actually
we
cause more damage than good.
maybe we start taxing churches that don't show that they're executing
Sign me up.
care for
Tax
the
churches,
poor.
full stop.
Right. I mean,
I don't
because
understand why
there's a
they're
lot
tax
of
free to begin with, because
well,
some of these guys are
there's
running around with multiple private jets. What is that all about?
and that to me is, the I think what I ran into, I don't know how long ago, maybe about 20 years ago, that first made me really start digging into my own theology, or like my own Christology, is kind of that question of like what motivates us to act in a righteous fashion. What's in it? What's in it for us? It's a
Yeah.
purely selfish question.
Yeah. It's a
Because
good question to
honestly,
ask.
especially at the time, it looked way cooler to get drunk and bang everyone versus whatever I was trying to do. By the way,
I can tell you it did
not
look like that.
cooler.
It is not.
God.
PSA kids, if there are any kids listening to this, that is not a
Yeah.
cool way to live life. I'm going to tell you that right now.
There's a book in the Bible about it. It's called Kohelet, but he basically said the same shit. This ain't worth it. Anyway, I think back then it was kind of the question of what's the motivation for acting right? Is it because I believe that there's, Yahweh watching me all of the time, weighing out whether or not I'm acting in accordance with Paul's epistles, which built upon
You're like
some
the
of
Egyptian gods with the
some of the
scales with the
behaviors.
feather. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well,
Yeah.
like, and the fact that I still think that that's kind of the end game, even
Yeah.
though Jesus died for my sins, it's like, yeah, I know, but that actually just gets you to the line where you're allowed to convert, and then once
Now
you do
you get to
that,
see whether or not you're good
now,
enough. Yeah.
right. Now
Am
you
I going
put
to
on
end
the
up in
long
purgatory?
undies.
Am I?
There
Yeah.
you go.
No,
You're
I
picking up
get
what I'm
exactly
putting
what
down.
you're saying. Yeah.
So by unraveling a lot of that, I think one, I went from very, very sure of what I thought and what I believed, and I would have told you it was as close to fucking fact as could possibly exist. I would have told you this is the way things are. And today, I find myself fascinated a lot more often. I have no idea what's going on in anywhere. I know. JR, there's like a plate of bad cookies upstairs. They're gluten-free. They're okay. I shouldn't call them bad cookies. They were delicious when they were hot.
Especially if your wife made them. They're excellent cookies.
They were awesome at the time. She would admit to. Yeah. Now they're kind of muffin. Anyway, bro, I've told myself a couple times, hey, man, 3 is enough. Bro, I've had 9 cookies today. I can't stop myself from hardly doing anything. I mean, a lot of this echoes some of the stuff that you hear in 12-step, but as I reflect on that, I think about how much cooler it is that I have this experience of being alive. How beautiful it is that I have the friendships and relationships that I do. And I just find myself wanting to take care of so many things around me. The garden makes so much sense as such a universal sign of taking care of something, because I think we all understand how much joy can come and how much attachment comes from really cultivating something. And I think that ultimately what I'm driving at is the issue that I have with organized religion. It's that it's not about healing or drawing people together. They build walls in their churches so that people can't get in.
Yeah.
There's so many made up arbitrary other guidelines that you and I both know you can use scripture to justify.
You can weaponize it.
So many things.
Yeah.
And the deluge of people deciding that that's going to be their weapon of choice in 2026 is the Bible. Of all things, bro. Of all things. The Bible in my life, bro. From like getting our degree until like 4 years ago, nobody gave a shit that I knew anything about the Bible. Now I'll be like, yeah, actually, well, then you know, and I'll be like, no. That's what caused me to say,
step away from you guys.
Idea. Yeah. And I'd love to explore it more, but like back to that Jonah story, bro. This is my 30-second Jonah sermon. Dad, if you're watching this, I love you. The fact that asshole who literally tried to ditch, I love it because it immediately is the word of God came to Jonah. There's no preamble. Here it is. It's like he got a beep. I did some of the math. It would be like I got called to go to like San Diego and I decided to go to Tampa, Florida, which I'm in Denver. So it would feel like if my boss, dude, if your boss called you and was like, hey, I need you at San Diego, and you're like, got it, boss. You're like, fuck that guy. I'm going to
Maine.
Bro, dude, yeah. And just on the way, all these other dudes that don't believe are like, what did you do? Because we've all satiated our gods. Yeah. And what I love about the text is it doesn't say, now these gods didn't exist. It just goes, yeah. They're praying to their gods. We got our gods.
Makes sense.
This is our God storm.
Ancient Near Eastern worldview. Makes sense.
Makes total sense that they have their own gods. Anyway, to check them in. I love the prayer in chapter 2. It's incredible. That part's very, very heartfelt. But what I wanted to highlight here, and this is what I'm getting at, bro, the reason that I keep reaching out all the time is out of love, right? It's purely out of love. I believe ultimately what happened to Jonah is he remembered what it was to be loved, because he remembered what it was to be separated from love. Because in my theology, God is just pure love. Pure love. Not a dude, not a woman, not a word, not a I guess the word's love, but it's love, man. And Jonah was separated from love when he was in the chaos and the belly and in the tomb. And then when he reconnected with love, it was just that reconnection with love that saved and convinced everybody that they needed to turn around.
Yeah.
And dude, that is my ultimate hope, is that people would see that loving each other again, if we ever really did at any point, but in any moment, fuck all that. Yeah, dude, we've had a dirty ass history. We've done terrible things to each other, whatever.
Can't argue any of that.
But I think repentance is always the thing that's highlighted, the acting out of love and repenting when you act in a way that is out of love, outside of those bounds, seems to be the consistent thread. And then at the end, it all works, and Jonah knows it had nothing to do with him. He gets all pissed off. God zaps that stupid plant that was, dude, incredible. Just brings a worm to eat the plant, and then it just ends like, here lies Jonah the dumbass. And immediately when I reread it, I was like, I get this guy.
It's me.
This guy is me.
Yeah.
And I think
it's all of us.
Yes. And I think that's where, if we could recognize all of those things about ourselves in a community setting again, where it wasn't about clout or followers or image or all these other things. And I don't know what that looks like. It ain't the modern religious structure. And I don't, I get to play softball with these guys a couple times a week, and every time I get a chance to talk to them, I'm like, I know that there's so much more to your life, and I know we could connect on so much more, but we fill our lives with this nonsense and these digital substitutions for connection. And I think it's fueling so much rage that you and I, like, look, dude, we did not solve welfare in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think that was the goal.
Me neither. But I also, I would say, if literally anybody who disagrees with me presents it in a way that you did, what am I to get mad about?
That's what I'm saying. That's what politics should be. That's what human relationships should be. We should be able to talk about things that we disagree on and actually be able to communicate with each other, because you're a human, I'm a human. We have that in common. Why can't we get to that place where we can say, I don't know everything. There is not a single person on social media that walks on there and says, I don't know everything.
Right.
They walk on there and say, I know everything. This person disagrees with me. This person is Hitler or whatever.
Dude.
And they're talking about something completely benign, and they become Hitler to them. It's like, what are we talking about here? So you talked a lot about your dad pushing you to do do a sermon and get into ministry.
Well,
so I have been wrestling with that same thought for a while now. I never felt when I was in college, because I wasn't the golden child like you were, that like all the cults wanted to get their claws into, because they knew that you could really lead the movement. It was only
one
kind of thing.
We were part of one.
I look at my life and I look at like everything that's happened, but I've really been looking at like the skills I've gained over the last decade. I'm pretty good at public speaking. Like I'm pretty darn good at it. Like that sounds narcissistic or whatever, but you know me better than most. I normally don't say I'm good at anything.
No, yeah, I'm proud of you.
So I actually think I have a skill set in that. I think I'm pretty good at video editing now. I'm pretty good at throwing
No, you're
podcasts
not.
together. And I started thinking about, what am I doing with this skills? Well, like these skills. What am I doing with this? What am I doing that's really going to matter after I'm gone?
What are we doing? What's going on?
Exactly.
Sorry.
But it's like, I can't tell you anything that's going to outlive me right now outside of my kids. And they're going to be better than me. So good. But I want to do something that's actually going to be impactful. I don't know what that is. And it's not because I want to get famous, or I want to, like the whole thing we started with, the guy that said, if you start a podcast to get famous, you're an idiot. Yeah, I agree. Like, I've done them enough to know that unless you're a famous person to begin with, it's a long grind to get anybody to pay attention.
Well, I don't know.
But I look at the skill set that I have and I start thinking, what can I do? And then you reach out to me today when I was thinking about, what can I do? And then you're like, hey, let's do this. Like, that's something I can do.
I think if we wanted to take it more of a biblical studies direction, here's what I would still be very interested
I want to keep
in
the politics in it. I think it's important.
Me too. Dude, and porque no los dos, until this hit the Christian nationalist waves, and then at that point, I'll say whatever you need me to say.
They got Trump running the country for them. They don't care about us.
Here's what I'll say. But here's what I'll say. I only say that because I don't know what I'm signing up for when I say I'm a Christian. Here's what I'll commit to. I think Jesus is the greatest of all time. Person. Now, I believe that the healing that happened around him happened. So there's a lot to unpack with some of that, but I think what kills me is that what to me is that binding teaching that he had. What I thought he taught, the kingdom of heaven was us all being together. Was seeing that you need your neighbor to see the log in your eye. You can't do it without your neighbors. The reason that we need to lean on one another is more about experiencing the height of this human experience than it is because of some dogmatic rule.
Exactly what Jesus is saying, Kevin.
That's what I mean. The good news was supposed to be, your sin has been, listen, I know a lot of you think that Yahweh is out to fucking toast you, which, by the way, I'm not even sure how, because like their concept of like Sheol and all of that.
There's a burning tire pit outside the city.
Really? Tires.
I don't even know what it was. But it was like it was a burn pit. It was like trash. It was a trash heap.
Like, have engines, but not anyway. But like I don't know if there's enough juice to that story. I guess.
Why can't you connect with people that way?
When I consider WWJD in 2020,
you're gonna bust out your bracelet now?
I would wear that bracelet.
I don't have one.
And I would ask people, and I would ask people, who would Jesus deport? No, I'm kidding. But what would Jesus do? I don't know, man. But I think part of it is connecting with the people that are closest to me and trying to drive those bonds deeper. Because whether or not anybody ever watches this, I got to express this to you, and I got to hear yours. I got to think about it. I got to contemplate on it. I got to give an empathetic ear to a different point of view. And I think all of this stuff, like outside of just the basic health benefits, like early onset dementia, less likely because we're having a debating conversation. I'm learning to be patient and listen and active listening and keeping my brain a little pliable. Like outside of all of those other benefits, it really just, dude, it's community. It kills me. It's like I coach these kids and I watch how well they get along. And I think to myself, man, later you guys won't?
Yeah. About something
God, I
stupid.
hate that. Yes, I hate it, dude.
Yeah.
I hate the stupid little shit that comes between us and how exacerbated it gets because we post it online with no context. Because we're lonely. We need somebody to pay attention to us. So we show our butthole on OnlyFans. I just wanted to say that on our first like, we're lonely, dude. So like we're so lonely that we're
The
just like
whole
everybody see
culture,
my dick.
the culture is loneliness.
Loneliness.
That's
Yes.
what our culture breeds.
Yes.
And the idea behind social media is that it breaks down walls when it does the exact opposite and makes us more lonely. Like the studies that have been done on like teens that are addicted to like Instagram or TikTok, I guess now, but their mental health and their feeling of loneliness and like distance from everyone around them is so concerning. And the fact that we're not blowing up those platforms and telling them to go to hell, I don't understand why that still exists.
Well, and again, maybe this is for a later pod, but or convo, but like, dude, too much of our economy is dependent on those
It's true. Too big to
social
fail.
media
Yeah.
platforms.
How much money's tied up in those?
And
Trillions.
and because I think people have become the product, it's harder for us to use those platforms to really drive community.
Yeah.
I don't know how analog shit's gonna have to get, but to your point, dude, I think about that. I'm like, you said it. Unless you're already famous, it's hard for these things to hit. That's
Yeah.
totally true. Um, take our best shot to get a good message out there. Like, hey, you can disagree on policy issues and still love each other. Um,
And that Christianity is not what you see it is. It's not what you see
man,
Joel Osteen, Furtick, Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Copeland. I can go on and on of the apostates that are destroying the name of Christ in the U.S.
I mean, James Talrica is probably the
I love
most
the guy, honestly.
prominent
I
pastor.
cannot stand his politics, mainly because I think he completely everything we've talked about here. He's doing it out of a good place. Like he truly
Yeah.
thinks that he is following Christ by putting money into what he says. But at the same time, like there are certain things that government should not be doing. There's certain things that government cannot replace. And I think too much of the Democratic Party and the liberal viewpoint is government will fix it. And my viewpoint is good people should be the ones that are fixing these things. Problem is we don't have enough of those.
And you will like, so on principle, I agree. Here's where I would depart. Because we vote for who governs us, there needs to be some kind of platform that you're selling to earn those votes.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what the Republican or conservative platform is.
You and me both at this point.
And that's where I would like, dude,
Yeah.
if there was somebody that was reasonably saying, hey, we're going to lower taxes for every single bracket by more reasonably. Oh, and by the way, we found a bunch of waste because we used a real government agency to do like a real,
Like an audit. Yeah.
sure. And dude, I'm where I lean. I hear what you're saying. I think there's some big government tendencies in the Democratic Party that sell it as a promise to people, because if you told people we're going to cut back our spending on that, but your experience is going to get better, nobody believes you.
Nobody believes it. Yeah. I forget
And-
which founding father said it. I think it was Jefferson. But he said that democracy breaks down once people realize they can vote themselves free money.
So I think there's a myriad of things. Here's what I'm going to really attack. I could damn near be boiled down to a single issue voter if you told me you were going to overturn Citizens United.
I'm actually on board with that.
You need to get rid of the money making that serving the public gives you.
So here's where I come back to you, though. You mentioned earlier you're a Bernie bro. Bernie has said for years that he's all for getting rid of that.
Well,
How much money has Bernie made from that personally?
I don't know.
A lot.
Well, brother,
So he's saying that because he's a populist and he's actually a pretty good politician. So he knows how to get to people, but he doesn't actually believe these things. That's the problem.
yeah, I think a lot of his policies in his state back up a lot of his ideologies. I don't think that he's had the sway on the national or federal stage or belief from other party members to get those ideologies through any type of meaningful legislation because he was blackballed by the Democrats. So again, sure, I don't know that from tax returns and shit, but JR, if you show me the pure politician in
We're
the
going to
game
talk
right
about
now,
it.
That's
There
fine.
isn't one of them. There isn't one of them.
But that's my point.
I talk
And
to a
so-
lot of these people and their staffs in my day job. These are normally not very good people.
Right. So my point is this. If me gravitating toward the first politician in my lifetime, well, no, since Citizen United, to actively say I'm not going to
Passed by whom? Who passed?
Clinton or Obama?
Obama, yeah.
Okay, stupid. Dude,
Yeah,
here's the
agree.
thing
I
about
agree
not
with stupid.
worshiping the God Kings is all of them do stupid shit.
Agreed.
Have done stupid shit, and
It's
things
because
I
both
disagree
sides
with.
take advantage of the system.
But I'm not going to allow the both sides to even things.
Yeah.
Because the problem has been trickle-down economics is horse shit. I would love to hear your perspective on your God King Reagan.
I
And
somewhat agree with that statement.
it's horse shit. It hasn't worked, and I would love to hear how it has. Because the elimination of the middle class has been exacerbated by those two policies, Citizens United and anything that was trickle-down economics where we fucked up all of the tax brackets. Now, Bernie, to me, was the opposite weight of that, was saying in order to bring some semblance of balance to the system, we're raging against said machine. Now, it's fine that we don't go the whole way. Whatever. If we need billionaires and trillionaires and those mommies and daddies need to have their big toys and have all this fucking power, okay. But if those same people are allowed to buy elections, then I don't believe we will have a government by the people for the people. I believe we will be taxed without fucking representation. And all of that should piss off patriots, but it seems to piss off the wrong people. Instead, those are wild liberals that just you're Antifa and blah, okay. Because I'm anti-fascism. Like, do you hear yourself?
It's pretty stupid, isn't it?
Oh my God. It's the same
Using
thing with
that as an
woke,
insult cracks me up.
with woke being bad. Like, you're saying it's better to be
You're
asleep.
against Hitler? What is the matter with you?
You douche. Fascism's awesome.
Now,
but like,
Antifa, that's a different altogether. The group itself, but
here's
idea.
kind of what I'm driving at, I guess, overall, is that original thought that if the government's supposed to be by the people for the people, I would argue that that policy of all of them removed that, because now it became, dude, look, if you're going to say, hey, we shouldn't put caps on the earnings of these people because, look, Bernie could earn some and everybody deserves to earn money and this is a free capitalist society. Fine, dude. where are the good-hearted folks that are willing to sign up for the monastic life to serve the church that would also serve our government in some similar fashion to say, you know what? I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. I don't have to drive a new goddamn car every single year, but I'd like to be able to afford a roof over my head. And I guess that ultimately is what I think
Those are the
has
people that should
eroded.
be in government.
But dude, we have allowed.
Did you see Mitt Romney the other day? So Mitt Romney was on CNN. He was interviewed on
the
CNN.
hell out of me.
So Mitt Romney was not a very good politician.
No,
I think a genuinely good person that actually did want to do good things. I just think that he was a really bad politician and got smoked in the general election.
he's incredibly rich, and therefore
He's just out of touch with people.
is
Yeah.
a
So
sick in the head person.
yeah, well, he's got a lot of other beliefs too that are a bit weird, but regardless, he was on there talking about the call of service is dead in our government. And it's all about people that want to be famous,
anywhere, bro.
people that want to get rich. Just look at this Pelosi tracker. Like, you could have been a millionaire in the 20s if you just started trading exactly what Pelosi was trading every day, because she was making hundreds of millions of dollars trading based on insider information, but it was completely legal for senators or congressmen or women to make those trades because there is no cap on it. And actually a Republican, I think it was Hawley, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he brought, it was somebody like that brought a bill that would make it illegal for senators and congressmen to make trades while they're in office, which I think is awesome. Do it right now, because I don't want anybody to become a senator and then get rich. That is not the way it should be. Because then what decisions are you making? Are you making it because it's in your interest or it's in your constituents' interests? That's always a question. Politics are broken in this country. Citizens United's a big part of it. And the fact that people only get into this business because they want to be famous, they want to be powerful, and they want to make money. They don't want to serve. That's dead.
Now, was it ever alive?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because
I think the forefathers, like the founding fathers, yes, because they actually went to war to do it. I think they truly believed it, and I think there were moments like Lincoln. Lincoln's a great example of somebody that he was doing that because, and he was doing everything that he did in order to keep the Union together because it was his duty. Like, if you read anything that he
Carter
wrote during that time,
seemed like he was trying to serve.
I would say Carter too. Carter was a horrific president. Great man. Absolutely incredible man. Terrible
You didn't
politician.
like his policies on Nam or what?
No, I really loved his policy on completely botching the Iranian hostage situation. Like, he just did a really bad job at that, but he was a great man. And so we need more great men and women in politics. I would take that at this point. And so what I think is interesting, so you mentioned Reagan. I've never been much of a Reagan Republican. I'm more of a George W. Bush Republican.
Oh boy.
And how funny is it at this point that Bush is now seen as like a sane counter to what's happening currently? And like, people are pointing to George W. Bush as somebody who was great and gracious in transitioning power, and like the way that Obama talks about him. And like, the fact is, he made some mistakes.
Obama saying something glowingly about him is a feather in your cap.
Yeah. So like, he wasn't
so great,
perfect.
even though Obama liked it.
Yeah. He wasn't perfect, but I think the Republican Party is so far from that at this point. Like, the Republican Party that I signed up for is completely different than what I'm seeing today. Yeah. We're not even in the same hemisphere. Like, all we're talking about is immigration. Why? Is there some huge problem in Mexico right now that I'm unaware of? Are there so many people in this country that's destroying everything? I don't see it. What are we talking about here? The focus is not on what it should be. And that's the issue that I have, is that I still believe in conservative principles when it comes to governing. The problem is the Republican Party doesn't anymore. It's not conservative anymore. Trump was a Democrat for most of his life, for God's sake. What are we talking about? It's just he's a
Democrat.
He's an apostate.
Now he calls us Democrats. God, that
he's
is so
stupid.
That is
such
so
a child.
Mean.
It's such a child. Like his insults occasionally can be funny, though. I will give him that. Occasionally he will catch one that is actually funny.
Funny? You think he's funny?
Occasionally he has said something that I laughed at. But he is also a degenerate human being that is not a Christian. I will say that without a doubt, that he does not believe in any of this. Specifically, if you say things like, he's a bad Christian to Talrico, who's going to seminary. What are you talking about? What
I do think it's good. It is a time where I think I learned a lot about a lot of people that I didn't expect to learn, specifically in light of one of the themes of tonight, which was whatsoever you do unto the least of these. He seems to punch down.
Yeah.
I think he's a very sad person.
You know, I called Bernie Sanders a populist earlier. The best populist of our lifetime is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He understands what people want. He knows how to, and I don't even think it's him. I think it's somebody that's handling him, because I don't think he's that smart, to be completely honest. I think he's got some really solid political operatives around him that know how to get to the zeitgeist, get to the hate. And I don't think he's a fascist, but he runs the playbook pretty well, because that's exactly what Hitler did in the 1930s. Figured out what really pissed off the Germans. The Treaty of Versailles made people very angry. They didn't have any money. They needed a scapegoat. Scapegoat was the people that are still doing really well in the community, Jews. That's where that whole thing started. And now it's Mexicans. Well, the issue is fascism is a political ideology, and it's more of a economic ideology, and like state-owned, state-run, use war to drive things forward. And we're not there. And I don't think we could be there with the way that we're set up. The issue, the thing is, he's using the fascist playbook, which is why people say things like that. Call him a fascist. Because when you look at it from a political perspective, he's not.
He was fascist then.
But he acts like one.
So I recently reread The Cost of Discipleship. Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Speaking of Nazis, like trying to blow up Nazis. Yeah.
That's why I read it.
Yeah. I love Bonhoeffer. I'm surprised I didn't know the book off the top of my head when you said that.
Well, friend, I've
got them over here. I got several of them.
I would say he would probably not worry about what label we put on someone who uses violence and violent rhetoric, punish and bully people who are of lesser standing.
Don't get me wrong. I think Trump is a despicable human being, and I think he's a bad president, and I don't think he's a conservative. And I myself am a conservative, and I disavow everything that he says.
How do we recuperate? Oh my God, dude.
Tariffs. Reagan even said that's the dumbest thing you can do. Every conservative, my entire lifetime, has railed against tariffs and how they're anti-conservative. And now everybody seems to think that they're the greatest thing if you're in MAGA. What are we talking about here? That's the exact opposite of being conservative.
There's a lot of folks who still seem to ascribe some of those viewpoints, whose academic rigor I don't respect. I'm going to put it that way. And if they can get that insult, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
But like legitimately to think that a tariff would be good for you, the person, is a misunderstanding of how that works. And the fact that, I mean, it's as close to cult-like behavior as I've seen outside of being in a cult. Where, dude, they're building statues. He's got gold in her room. I mean, we're having, dude, the fact that UFC fight took place on the White House lawn. Bro, he posted pictures shitting on protesters and then the Obamas as monkeys. And most conservative white people who support him just went, yeah, but people have been mean to him too.
You know what I find interesting? Most MAGA people are former Democrats, in my experience, like the people that I've met.
Huh?
They're like, it's the lowest common denominator people, the people that follow cult of personality more than have a set of beliefs. They're people, like, if you look at them as a whole, it's all poor white people.
Oh, sure.
And all of these
poor white people love Trump.
Yeah, and then like rich white people like him too because lower taxes and all that stuff.
Sure.
But
yeah, look how much better everybody's
doesn't make
doing.
a lot of sense. It's like you look at that and you look at the people that are following him and they're the ones that have the least. Like, what are you doing?
But I would say, back to our conversation about rich people, most miserable people I've met. I mean, addicts that are at their absolute, like, bad, and then it's rich people.
Just a step above,
dude,
the
seriously.
rock bottom.
And then,
they're
like,
step above rock bottom.
And then like this, they have this. There's an entitlement energy, and a life should be better for me. And you know what? It should be better than this, shouldn't it, guys? Hell yeah, it should. Why? Well, because it used to be better. Look at all these TV shows. It's only white people.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, yeah, dude, it's segregation.
So the disenfranchisement of young men. Like there's a professor that's been doing a lot lately talking about disenfranchisement of young men and how
Is it
like
Jordan Peterson?
No, this guy, it was like Scott Galloway or something like that. I forget his name. I'll look
Prof.
it up.
Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
I know Prof.
So
Galloway.
Some of the stuff he says
Jordan
I'm
Peterson.
on board with. But I think that same thought applies to the MAGA people, is that they are somewhat disenfranchised. They needed a horse to ride. They're down on their luck people, and they look at Trump as somebody who's going to get them out. And that's what he's tapped into.
Yeah, I agree. Why are young men disenfranchised?
I think if you look at what this professor says, he talks about just looking at Tinder and like the way dating apps work. And if you're not like a 9 out of 10 guy, you're never going to get a date on there. So then they become incel. And there's a lot to it, but it's just the idea of lack of opportunity right now too, from an economic perspective. So
and
you got economics, you got, and the Tinder and the economics are two different things.
Sure.
But it's like a compounding thing. And this whole conversation now that everybody talks about how men are kind of less than, like it's almost this knee-jerk reaction in the other direction. I don't know how much I agree with everything that he's talking about, but some of the stuff he talks about makes some sense. And I think when it comes to Tinder, social media, and lack of opportunity for young people right now coming out of college, I agree with that part of it. And I think if you take that and then you put that on top of the MAGA people, I think it helps you understand where they're coming from too, is that they don't have anything. They're listening to a man who they know and they've seen and they believe is successful, which is highly debatable.
Bro,
And then
he's awesome at grifting.
it's great businessman.
He's made so much money from adding no value.
Yeah. I love how we started this
Incredible.
conversation on welfare, and then the last 30 minutes
And
have
we ended
been
up
us
with the biggest
bashing
welfare
Trump.
queen of them all. Yeah.
But
This dumb bitch. He's allowed to just file bankruptcy and walk away, but we're mad at somebody for their Snap card going to a
Yeah.
Slurpee. Give me a break, dude.
have you actually just sat and thought about like the MAGA people and like who they are and like where they come from and why and what drives them? Because I do. I think it's interesting.
I try to consider, yeah, kind of why there's a few family members that I would like to be able to connect with more.
To actually have a conversation about it.
Yeah, or
just
honestly,
like a relationship at this point. Because sometimes those are two separate but somewhat equal things. Like you can't talk about that. So now you can't talk about anything because that's all they want to talk about.
And I can't say something like, you know, I wish there was universal health care and somebody to just be like, I don't, and just move on. Like, I'm not like murderous about my passion for universal health care. I think it makes sense. Or like we were just debating, right? Do I think that welfare should stay in place? Yeah. And I think it should be cleaned up a little bit.
I think we both agree on that, but it needs to be fixed.
So
I think we came to a consensus there that it's required, but it needs to be fixed.
Our consensus happened in like 11 minutes.
I know, because
neither of us are trying to win votes by saying we're never going to touch it. Don't worry. Or, oh yeah, we're going to gut this bitch and we're going to drain the swamp. Like none of us. Anyway.
Yeah.
But back to
it's
all
all
that
rhetoric. Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately what I've
That's why
noticed.
nothing gets done.
So the disenfranchisement of young men, and then we were just talking about how it would be horrible to be a young woman. I guess my perspective is this, JR. Everybody hurts. Like,
you can start singing REM right now.
I was about to go, you're not.
God, what a horrible song. I love Losing My Religion.
I do.
I'm not a big REM guy.
I love that.
Never
song.
have been.
Dude, I will cry to Everybody Hurts later. I'm going to do that when we're done. I'm going to have a good cry. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
There's a centipede in my basement. I legitimately believe that part of what we're all crying out for is what we were talking about before. It's just to be heard. It's just to be listened to. It's just to be seen. And the problem is, in this attention economy, you have to grab somebody's attention on a screen, and you just said it. So if I'm on fucking Tinder or whatever, I'm only going to swipe on the things that are visually appealing to me. And what's visually appealing to me has been fucking ingrained, coaxed, taught, reinforced to me from cartoons to fucking everything that's on TV. And all of this, dude, all of it, including how you and I are connecting right now, goes back to the screens, bro. The screens. Listen, I know I'm going to sound like old man yells at sky. And I intend on being
Which is
that
a great
person.
meme, by the way.
Great meme. Which I learned on a screen. Yeah. I don't want to be the screens or evil guy. I do think that one of the root thoughts that kept me in the belly of the fish was, woe is me. I have it hard. And I have it harder than many. And let me think of all the ways, and again, it sounds so shitty, but like what I needed in that moment was both to have somebody hear me say, yeah, man, you do, but also to say, so do we.
Look around. Yeah.
And then also to say, we got this. And I feel like that's the kingdom of heaven, is when we say we're all flawed. Like, dude, this whole mogging thing and clavicular and all that.
We can talk about clavicular too.
Bro, again, incels and all of this, it's about division. And the thing is, bro, in my heart of hearts, I believe that love wins. So like hatred's up big right now. Hatred is the Falcons in that Super Bowl. They're up 28-3.
We need the Pats to make a huge comeback.
I need the Tom Brady of righteousness.
Who is the Tom Brady of righteous's?
You know,
who's going to save us from this?
Jesus Christ is really kind of the Tom Brady of righteousness. It's blasphemy of blasphemies. I don't even like Tom Brady that much. Anyway, I do think that the sky is darkest before the dawn. I think there's a lot of, birth pangs of a revolution, so to speak. And I think there's enough, bro, if we're ever able to read them Epstein files,
I think it's going to be bad for all politicians, both sides. And I think that's why it hasn't come out yet.
That's the revolution that we need.
Yeah. Hasn't come out yet because I think Democrats and Republicans are going to look awful.
And JR, I would say that there are no sacred cows.
Exactly. There shouldn't be, especially for that. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we protecting? Anyway,
100% for that.
That's a whole other discussion.
And so with the remaining, whatever we'll call it, 5 minutes, this was great. Thank you for doing this. This was healing to my soul and fun to do, and I'm looking forward to doing it more. I would love to talk more about the rule of law at some point too. So I think we have a couple ideas that we kind of spit in there, but I was having that conversation with my dad. He made some comment like, you sound particularly helpless or hopeless. Helpless, probably helpless too. But you sound particularly hopeless this morning. And I was like, it just feels like you were supposed to do something about any of these evil people, and none of you people did anything about it. Now I feel like I'm supposed to do something. And then it's like, what am I supposed to do? Go get a lasso and a tin star and ride my horse up to Washington, D.C., start lassoing these motherfuckers, throw them in the jail. You know what I mean? It's like you start dreaming of vigilante justice in moments when you see none. And I think about the writer of Revelation and the horrors that they witnessed at the hands of Nero.
Yeah.
And how that's
divisive too. I got in an argument about that the other day. But anyway, keep going.
What, Revelation?
About the fact Revelation was actually an allegory about what was going on in first century church. People get pissed. But anyway, continue.
You can't.
I love these kind of debates, though. This is what
me too.
It gets me going. Like, that's fun.
I agree. I do always want them to be, in the spirit of enlightening.
They're civil. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the spirit of learning more, knowing may not ever happen. So I don't remember what I was saying. I think ultimately my driving thought, I believe that this is the most stark that suffering and injustice has been apparent in my day-to-day life, and not because of my own choice. I think looking around me, whether it's in the stores that I've been visiting for 20 years, the neighborhoods I've been visiting for 40, the friends I've had for that long, there's angst and sadness. And I believe truly in a power that is so far beyond my understanding that I refuse to label it. But I think that power heals, cultivates, and grows in a spirit of love, forgiveness, and understanding. And I just think those are things that I hope we can continue to try to promote.
Yep.
And get 0 clicks.
Exactly.
For being about
who cares? It's fun for us. We want to talk
and understand. No, I'm kidding.
So,
but like that.
2 things based on everything you just said. And these are things to think about for whenever we do this again.
I love it.
So I'm going to start with the idea that you're talking to your dad, like, weren't you supposed to do something about this? The Communist Party of China knows that economic prosperity avoids political rancor. So what they do is they make sure that their upper middle class and middle class have it really good.
Right. So the poor just stay poor.
You know why they do that? Because they studied American history.
Yeah.
And they saw what happened with boomers and how much money boomers were making.
Yeah.
And so that prosperity led to people not really being in tune with politics and the direction the country was going.
And I would say not really. And again, that is fascinating, and I want to unpack that at another time. So I'm glad it's recorded. I made this comment earlier, and I think you said something so great about legacy. So I think this is great to do for that too, which is part of why I would love to do a more biblical studies leaning, and maybe we just do it as a series or something.
Yeah.
But I want an excuse or a reason or an accountability to push myself to go back through some of these texts and really test my own theology.
I love that.
So that's kind of the motivation. But
so the other thing that I wanted to throw out there as a topic of thought for a future episode, is it truly worse now than it was 20 years ago? Or is media trained by social media and clickbait to show the negative more than the positive? Because blood sells.
That's
I don't know.
Right.
I think it's something worth looking at and discussing. Is it worse now than it was before? Or is this just an outrage machine that's been built to keep people's short attention spans tight?
And do I just happen to be visiting a retailer that's just losing its touch?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't have an answer to anything I just said.
Really?
It's just more of a let's think through that and let's put our thoughts together and then let's debate it. Let's talk about it.
I love it.
Because I don't know. There are days when I think that a lot of the outrage culture that we live in right now is manufactured by
absolutely
third parties. And I mean, like other states, like
Russia.
And North Korea and China. They're sowing division in order to destabilize.
Through the screens.
Yeah. Is it as bad? I think it's not great. We got a moron running the country. That's not great. And we've got some stuff going on, but is it really worse than any other time? I don't know.
Right.
It's something we should probably think through and talk about. But we can do this weekly, or we could do it bi-weekly, or we could do it whenever we have time.
I would love to try to find a way to do this weekly, so we'll text about that. That's a great idea.
All right. Well, whatever we're calling this is done now. So if anybody's got any ideas on what we should call this, and you sat through the 2 hours so we've just rambled on, please let us know, because we're taking submissions for names for the show and ideas too. So if anybody listens to this and there's something they're curious about and they want us to talk about it, two morons talk about stuff, by all means, let us know. Love you, bro. It's fun talking as always.
Yep.
And that's it.